All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Taylon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
And today we are covering Beastarius, written and illustrated by Masumi Kakizaki. So this is our next installment in our theme on ancient Greek, Roman history, not history, but stories. Yeah, civilization stories.
And whatever.
Yeah, not whatever. And this book is this was Talon's choice.
Indeed.
So yeah, if you want to go ahead and intro it a little bit.
All right, gotcha. All right, so this story is split into two parts. We first get our introduction to two characters, Finn and Durandal. Finn is a human, Durandal is a wyvern or a dragon, as we would understand. The second part of the story is about two brothers, one human named Xeno and the other named Tharos. And they both take place...
The other is a minotaur, I should say.
Yes, I forgot that. Yep. Yes. So one human, one minotaur, and they're brothers.
Yes. Not by blood.
Not by blood. You're right. By refuge?
Yeah.
Sure.
Adoption.
I mean,
yeah. And so the first part of the story is Finn and Durandal, and they have a father-son relationship. Durandal has been raising this boy since he was 4 years old after his dad died. And he's been...
I should say this is in Rome, kind of. Gladiator battles.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's like raising him in like a colosseum, like they're slaves, right? To fight in the colosseum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a school.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, that's later.
Prison.
That's later. Yeah. So yeah, they are slaves.
Yeah. And so he trained him up to be a warrior, which is much like his father, because his father is a Roman centurion. And so Durandal is more the stoic kind of like, I think logically, like doesn't really think from his heart much.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story takes place when Finn is about 19 or so.
Yeah. And
the son of the Emperor Vespasianus, I don't know if I said that right, but the son is Dominatus, and he wants to see Durandal fight. I mean, this great dragon, but he can't make him fight because it's a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, I think wyverns are different than dragons, technically.
Okay.
But it's a dragon. Let's be real.
Yeah, if you want to be a real nerd about it, it's not a dragon because it doesn't have 4 legs and a set of wings.
I see.
It has 2 legs and wings, so it's like the story says, a wyvern, not a dragon. But if that's what you're getting upset about, like, I don't know what to tell you.
It's a Romans and dragons. I mean, we should say that, like, most of the wyverns have been, killed.
He's literally...
And there's a lot of non-humans in this world, and a lot of them get enslaved or just, like, wiped out, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's actually the last wyvern.
Yeah.
Alive. So the what's his name again? Dominatus is like, I want to see this wyvern fight.
Mm-hmm. He also wants to see the crowd loves what's his name? Finn. Thank you.
Oh, Finn. Yes.
Yeah.
So Finn, being a warrior, is a fighter in the Colosseum, and people are like, fan favorite kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so he wants to see him fight, and he wants to see the wyvern fight, and so he hatches a plan. I'm gonna host a game. I'm gonna make you fight. Then you only have to fight one game, but you have to fight this boy that you raised as a son.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the match starts, Durandal is like, all right, I'll fight you. And Finn is like, I don't want to fight you. You're my father.
Before this, Finn and Durandal had discussed that he was from England, a valley in England or whatever.
The Hebden.
And Finn's like, well, since you're my dad, and even though Durandal's like, I'm not your dad, stop that.
Mm-hmm.
Finn's like, you're my dad, I see you as my dad.
Right.
Your home is my home, we should go back there when we get the chance.
Yeah. So yeah, like, Finn
but then Durandal accepting this, like, match with him, it's like, one of us has to die to get out of here. Yeah.
Because he's lost heart, kind of thing, is how I interpreted that. He was like, I have no hope of getting out of here. And at the same time, if they didn't fight, they were both going to die anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much like, I think that he had faith that, like, Finn would be able to, like, realistically, like, kill him, without it looking like, oh, I'm just sacrificing myself and making the Emperor's son be, like, vindictive in some way like that, so he was like, yeah, if I just, like, kind of give it my all, and then Finn kills me, then he gets freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how is a son going to kill his father? I mean, that just doesn't, you know what I mean?
It never happens.
And so, so Finn is resistant to fighting. Durandal's like, no, I'm going to fight you. And to get Finn to fight Durandal, he throws a jab at, or Dominatus, throws a jab at Finn, right? He shoots an arrow at his heart, saying, actually, that creature right in front of you is the one who killed your father.
Mm-hmm. Your real blood.
Physically shoot him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yes.
Yes.
It's an emotional arrow.
Yes.
At his hypothetical heart.
Yes. And so, but he still holds on to a little bit of hope. And he's like, he's lying, right? And Durandal comes in with another arrow and is like, no, it's true. It's true. And he's like,
sticking with this arrow metaphor, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I am.
We did already explain it. So.
And so that was it for Finn. He was like, all right, I'm convinced. I'm going to fight you. But when it gets to the point where he's like, he's got Durandal, he's grounded, he could swing one axe, kill him, and get his freedom. Instead of going for the head, he goes for the chain, breaking off his father's chain, the false lies that he believed, because his heart was broken. You see what I'm going for? He freed him, both physically and metaphorically. And so...
don't know about that.
I mean, like, on one hand, yeah, I guess, but on the other hand, like, he was just chained up by a big iron ball. Like,
yes, but now it's like, hey, we can fly away together. We can actually get out of here. And so then it was like,
wait. The whole moment is that, Durandal's like, you're still pretty bad at fighting. You tried to hit my heart, but you did too shallow of a hit. So you're just a dumb kid still. One of us is still gonna have to die.
Yeah.
And him choosing to, like, subvert the expectations of Durandal and, cut the chain instead and be like, no, I still believe in you, even though we're fighting in this moment. We can just leave together now.
Yeah.
I didn't actually turn on you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Talon's read still works of it, though, right? Like, I mean...
It got really complicated there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that, you got a little bit, like,
emphatic.
Physical
in the moment. But, yeah, I mean, it is just the idea, the metaphorical idea that, like, Finn forgives Durandal. It was Durandal's, like, secret, basically. Like, he can never know, he'll hate me forever. He'll kill me. But then it was like, oh, yeah, no.
Right.
You're still kind and good, and I want to spend, my life with you in that way.
And so they fly off to the Hebden Valley, the motherland, I believe, is what Durandal calls it. And they spend the rest of their days defending the land, and it says they die valiantly to the end. And so that's the end of the first part. The second part of the story features the two brothers, Xeno and Tharos. And much like Finn and Durandal, they're slaves in this colosseum kind of environment where
they were
fighters.
Captured.
Yes.
When some Roman soldiers went to kill this minotaur, and they took its little minotaur child when they also found a human child, they took them both as slaves.
Yep. Yep. And
so the human child had been being raised by the Minotaur.
Yeah.
So that's why they're brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like the child was abandoned or something, and it was like, all right, I take pity on you, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was left as a sacrifice to the Minotaur.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so present day is Xeno, much like Finn, is a fan favorite in the Colosseum. Everyone's cheering his name. Tharos, on the other hand, is a really big hulking minotaur, but doesn't know how to, he's not coordinated. And in this training compound, he's a cook. But he doesn't cook well. So he makes a lot of mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. He makes a lot of mistakes. And to the point where the person who killed his father is about to flog him, but Xeno steps in and is like, back off. And for whatever reason...
brother.
Yeah. For whatever reason, the guy's like, all right, fine. And walks off. But he tells Xeno, this is, again, I think, a arrow shooting at his heart. It's like, you should just leave him. Like, he's not your actual brother. He's just a burden to you. But Xeno is adamant. He's like, no, that's my brother. Back off. And so what they're there, and their plan is to earn enough money to buy their freedom. And so Tharos' way of doing that is cooking. Xeno's is fighting. Well, one day the devil in a dress comes by. Oh, sorry, I mean Ariana, wife of a senator.
It's a pretty lady. Everybody run.
She comes by. She sees the glory that is Xeno, and she's like, I want that. I want to mold him into something that will protect me so I can use him.
I just want a pretty thing to keep around.
And so she's like, she hatches a game, she hatches a game and offers 2,000 sorry, something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, money. Yeah. Money, enough money to buy Xeno and Tharos' freedom and then some. And so she's like, okay, this is what she offers a bunch of these people, like a chance to defeat what is called a manticore. Now, the thing about this manticore, never been defeated before. So now she's like hoping, hey, Xeno's gonna win this, I hope. And Xeno's more than willing to be like, buy our freedom, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Tharos is like, but you're a novice. I just don't know. I don't want you to die, brother. And Xeno's very adamant. He's like, no, I'm gonna get our freedom, and we're gonna go walk in freedom together. Like, trust me in this. Kind of encouraging him in that. And so this fight is a bloody one. Xeno very nearly dies, but one move turns the tides. Xeno is able to kill the manticore. Finally, freedom has been secured. But the devil in a dress, Ariana, is convinced, or she doesn't want Tharos around. And he's a hulking minotaur. I can't stand the idea of him in my company. And so Sixtus offers a alternative. If I fight him and then if I convince Tharos to stay behind, then he'll convince Xeno to be free, and then just allow me to fight Tharos, and we'll call it even, Yeah. And so he convinces Tharos that if Xeno and him go in freedom, then he's just going to hold Xeno back. That, he's a monster. Like, people are going to look at Xeno weirdly. And because he loves his brother, he doesn't want that for him. So he decides, you know what, Xeno, bought my freedom, but it wasn't actually enough. Like, he lies to him. Says, it wasn't enough. So go, I will cover the rest of it, and it's going to be fine. So Xeno goes off. And
be along shortly.
Yeah. And so then fast forward a couple of days, turns out they're at a Colosseum. A game's about to start. Sixtus is on the field. And who do you know comes out but Tharos? Tharos is out there. A minotaur who is not trained and who's never fought before. Going against someone who trains people to fight. You best believe Xeno is kind of like, what?
And killed, Tharos' father.
That too. And so there's a lot of emotions running high right now.
Yeah.
It's just being like, I've always hated you, Minotaur.
Yeah, right. And so Xeno is about to jump in there, but the guards next to Ariana and him are like, hey, don't do that. You can't ruin this because then you'll both be imprisoned again. And you just got your freedom. You don't want that. Mm-hmm. And so the fight begins. Tharos is getting his butt whooped and Sixtus is having fun. But Tharos hangs in there and he's like, no, I remember my family motto, right? And he's like, I'm going to show this guy that minotaurs, they might not fight. They might be peaceful, but when it comes to threatening their family, we know how to fight. And so out of nowhere, Tharos turns the tides. And then this is where we see that a prisoner has escaped. And so back up a little bit in the story, we see that Tharos is giving food to prisoners. One prisoner in particular is kind of dark and brooding, and he's very stoic, and he's like, he sees through the BS that's happening around Tharos, and he's like, you're so, like, that's ridiculous. Why are you allowing that to happen to you? And who is it? Well, none other than Durandal himself. And you're like, what? I thought, what's going on? I thought he died. That's weird in the last story. But
die.
Well, I mean, it says, they fought to the bitter end, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I was thinking, right?
Yeah. This takes place before.
Yes. So this story actually takes place before the first part.
Mm-hmm.
And so Xeno, when at the fight, also recites the family motto. And he says, death doesn't scare me, but seeing someone who's dear to me hurt, that is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of being separated from them. And he leaps into action, cuts down the guards holding him back, jumps into the colosseum, and comes to the aid of his brother. And then it's at this moment that we notice that Durandal has escaped. And so he comes crashing down into the colosseum, dragon going to say, hey, you two, get on my back. This guy once called Tharos dumb because he's like, you care for people? That's dumb. But he's now calling himself dumb because he's like, I'm doing something illogical because I like you. And so they get on his back and they flies them away and then lands them, I don't know where. Do you know? Somewhere particular?
I don't remember.
Did they go back to Crete?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to guess.
Probably.
I think that they go back to Crete.
Yeah. So Durandal drops them off at Crete, and now they're free. And in their freedom, they see a caravan, a Roman caravan, carrying people to be sold as slaves. And they, knowing what horrors await them, are like, we should work to get there for us to be able to fight for those people, fight for their freedom.
Yeah.
In whichever way they look at that. And in that scene, they see a child in that caravan, and that child is none other than Finn himself.
So I guess they didn't win that fight, huh?
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, because Finn turns out to be a slave later. Yeah. And if they were going to go fight to free them.
That's true. Good
point.
Yeah.
Unless Finn got captured again, which I guess he is 5 years old.
Yeah.
So, maybe.
I think it was more like he was already captured by the time they would have gotten ready to fight for people. I think they would have been more freedom fighters kind of thing.
Maybe. I don't know, yeah. Have to read more chapters.
It's true. But yeah. So it's a crazy...
Yeah. I I did not realize until you just said it that Finn was the kid at the end. That makes sense, but I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I was real quick. I was going to give a little bit of info about the author of this, Masumi Kakazaki. He's born May 18th, 1978. He started, or his first published manga was in 2001, a one-shot called Two Tops. He's kind of most notable for two mangas, Rainbow, Nisha Rokubo no Shinshin, which is kind of a 1950s crime manga about young boys in a juvie hall, basically. If I understand right, yeah. And like basically like, you know, the difficulties of growing up with like a criminal record in Japanese society. Oh, and in post-war Japanese society is also an important element of it. And then also one called Green Blood, which is, it looks like it is also kind of I don't know how to explain, but there's only like, the genre is action western. Okay, I was going to say it looked like a western, but then I was like, I don't know exactly if that's correct. Yeah.
I want to say for this story, you know, obviously, as we've mentioned, it starts out with Finn and Durandal in the beginning, and then shifts focus over to these other characters, Tharos and Xenos. But that's because it started out as a one-shot.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
He did a 2-part one-shot, which was you know, just wyvern in Roman times, crazy things, and then people liked it enough, I guess. You know, he continued.
Yeah.
So Cody, you might have said it, and I probably missed it. But what year did this book come out?
Yeah. So I didn't say that actually, but it is. It came out in 2011 and ran until 2018.
Wow.
Wow.
7 volumes.
That's way more recent than I thought it was going to be.
I know, it's got a really kind of older art style. Feeling.
Yeah. He was mostly like, pretty much he did that Rainbow book from 2002 to 2010, and then did one other small thing in 2010, and then it was like, okay, on to Beastarius 2011 onward.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It's a finished story.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say that he says in the end of volume 1, basically that he, before this point, he was mostly doing I think the word is shinen manga, you know, for young men as opposed to young boys in shonen. And he was like, well, I could probably do shonen. And so he like kind of talked to an editor for Shonen Jump.
Begged an editor.
Is that what he says? Did he say beg?
It was either when he started or to continue.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said begged.
Yeah, and basically, he was like, you know, can I do this? And they're like, okay, well, yeah, do like, you know, tell us what your pitch is. And he was like, well, I liked, you know, ancient Rome when I was a kid, so how about that? And they're like, that sounds kind of boring. Like, can you spice it up a little bit? And they're like, okay, well, he like went back to the drawing board and then came back to them, and it was like monsters in ancient Rome.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, got this. And that was pretty much it. That was his reasoning as far as
So when I was reading it, especially with like Tharos and Xeno, their story, I was like, man, this must be a really personal story for him. And then I read that and I was like, no, it doesn't feel like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, also it's pretty common for manga creators to be pretty like guarded, you know, about like their personal lives and stuff like that. So it could be that he might just be like, nah, they don't need to know about that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
When I was enslaved as a gladiator in Roman times, what are you talking about?
Of course I'm that old.
I mean, yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically with the idea of like, you know, brotherly love stick together.
Story.
Yeah.
Like, you thought I turned on you, son.
Yeah.
And now we'll escape together because the power of family.
Now I gotta say, this book did it better than Fast and Furious.
Such a high bar.
Jake, you look like you don't agree.
Like, okay, I haven't seen that many Fast and Furious movies, but like, on the other hand, like Fast and Furious has made a couple $1 billion. I don't know how well it's sold.
That's fair.
Damn, Jake.
Yes.
Okay.
Comic sales aren't everything.
I did not love this book.
I see. He's biased. Get him out of
Okay,
here.
I do want to say I read the next volume after this because I was like, is this just gonna keep changing characters? Like, I was curious about that. Like, what is the point of this if we keep changing characters? Is this just a bunch of one-shots?
Well,
And it kinda is.
Oh, really?
Wouldn't it be considered like anthology?
Yeah, something like that. Anthology.
I don't know. Is it anthology if every other book is like different characters?
Well, yeah. I mean, that is what an anthology is, right?
Anthology is like multiple short stories within one book, I thought.
Yeah, but I mean, it is in
Just longer now.
Yeah, it's in.
How
a
many more
series.
times
It's
does
in
Durandal
Yeah.
like fly away the monsters to wherever their homeland is?
Is he going to
I should
become?
say he's not in the next one. I'm pretty
Oh.
sure.
Oh, okay.
I didn't ever get a glimpse
That's a
of.
bummer.
Oh wait, nope, never mind. I just remembered the entire plot where he's like, "Throw those kids away! Don't teach them how to fight." The kids are like, "But we want to learn how to fight to avenge our village."
Mhm. Yeah.
And then it takes 1 year, and they're ready to take on the Roman Empire.
Dude, just
Yeah,
following
the
in
Roman-
Finn's footsteps, you know?
The Roman Empire in this kind of sucks, but not in like a man imperialism sucks, but more like a wow, they just like all suck at fighting unless you're a named character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're a minotaur.
Like it's at the end of the first story, it says 250,000 Romans died for like a patch of land in Britain.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Are you all facing him one at a time? Like, what's happening?
They're just so darn
That's
strong.
just how. Yeah, that is how strong Finn is. He's so good.
I mean, but
He's
think about
such
it,
a-
Jake.
he's
They-
such a
But
good
Finn's
fighter.
dad died when it was just one legion against a wyvern,
Yeah.
and then that wyvern lost to the next legion that showed up.
Oh, that's,
So, like,
that's
what
fair.
happened in the next 18 years that
Well-
made them both like such able to fight 250,000 Romans?
Enrollments are down.
we
Getting really bad recruits.
we initiated the draft.
It's
They were
all
not
those
there.
lead pipes.
Jake, didn't you know the fall of the Roman Empire was thanks to one wyvern?
It didn't happen in a day.
Well, no, I thought that was like the saying was that Rome wasn't built in a day, but it did fall in one.
Oh,
Is that
that's
really
fair.
the end of the? Oh,
Oh, fair
Yeah.
enough.
okay.
Wow, that has a very.
You guys keep using that phrase every single episode about this.
Did
Really?
we use it last week.
Oh, we did. Okay, I forgot then.
did.
That was my bad. Usually I keep
Caleb
track of
loved
that.
it then too.
Because I made the joke.
Okay. Now I feel bad about using it.
It's the only phrase we know.
Okay.
Yeah, this series really kind of showed his writing style
Hmm.
is pretty younger
Oh, okay.
audience, I would say.
Yeah, which is why, like, that's kind of why I thought it was so old. Was that, like, yes, it is illustrated in kind of an old-fashioned style, but, like, even the theming is very simple. And I would have thought by, like, 2011, Shonen
The kids
even
are
being...
more sophisticated than this.
Yeah, you know. Okay, well, like, look at Looney Tunes from, like, 60 years ago, and then, like, I don't know, what
The
cartoons are
Looney
on
Tunes
now.
show. Well,
The
that was
Looney Tunes
2011.
show now, yeah. Like, you know, the kids' tastes develop.
Yeah.
Bluey?
Yeah, Bluey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, like
yeah.
Bluey. People like Bluey.
Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Kids
this
were
is-
born yesterday, Jake.
Okay, hold on. Actually, I not to like necessarily take down your point, Jake, but theatrical cartoons were for adults. They were not for children. They were like, because movies were for adults, and so like Looney Tunes, like, you know, while suitable for children, they were sophisticated and meant for adults at that time period. They were just
All right,
repackaged later for
fine.
children because of societal things.
All right,
Right.
well, fine.
Jake has so much, so much confidence in this new generation. He's like, they're getting more sophisticated.
I will agree, though, that this story was pretty simple, and it maybe didn't feel like the trends that were common for 2011 in the 2010s in general.
See, what was 2011 for me was like, you know, I was steeped in superhero stuff. So it was like, I don't want people to find out my superpowers because then they're going to experiment on me. Like that.
I mean, that's just throughout the history of the genre of superhero.
Yeah,
genre.
that's also like in ET though. Like I don't want to. I don't want people to take away my alien because they're just gonna like dissect him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, when I was reading this, like, you know, I was just like, wow, you know, there's like not a lot of depth to these characters. You know, like they're
even a dialogue. Yeah. Just they really kind of straight up say things. Mm-hmm. I care about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought like when they were saying their family motto for the second time, I was like, this does feel very platitudinous.
Yeah.
And so
I fight on the side of good. So, you're evil.
It did remind me of like somebody summarized like a CW TV show as like nobody will ever have a secret that will last more like longer than the scene that it takes to explain to you what the secret is.
Yes.
Now I want to know what show that was.
It was Arrow.
One of
them. Oh, it was? That's funny.
Yeah, though I thought that, you know, and it's kind of disappointing to hear that it seems like it takes more of a, you know, episodic, you know, non-long form kind of narrative because it's like, wow, yeah, that's just really kind of, you know, not the same thing. I'm sure that he changes it up a little bit. It was probably like, oh, I still have more to say about my one shot, basically. I'm going to like kind of extend that a little bit.
I will say the last volume of this series does have it go back to Finn and Durandal.
Okay.
I keep changing his name. I don't know what his name is.
It's close. Yeah. To me, I'm like, normally I wouldn't, I don't think I'd like the story, but I do feel like he has a, you know, with it being episodic, he has a potential there for like touching on various different ideas. And so, like, it's aimed, to me, it's like if it's aimed at children, this story also already has, to me, like a moral message. And so if it's episodic, it's like, oh, here's all these different, you know, morals to teach.
Is it that many different morals though?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Care about family.
Yeah.
Family, you guys.
Okay,
family
I guess
can be anyone.
We've only seen 2 episodes, for lack of a better term, but the message both times has been like, man, isn't fighting for your family sick? Which, like, it is.
Yeah.
They're right.
You should be strong and cut down anybody in your way.
Yeah. And yeah. Xeno, both Xeno and Finn, like, neither of them really have, like, anything about them other than that they're good fighters and that they are, you know, adoptive family to quote unquote monsters, you know.
Now here's a question. If this is aimed for children, would you expect more?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is aimed for teenagers, like, you know, tween to teens, I would say.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, like, not young children. Like, that's a different genre.
Okay, fair enough.
Would you, as a 13-year-old, read this and be like, sick?
I don't think so. But I think more just because it's not my taste. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would read it, you know, like, that's the thing. I don't think that there was anything that was, like, necessarily, like, wow, this story really lost me, you know, where, like, I was just, like, I don't care, you know, it read extremely fast, like, there was a lot of action, and it was fun action, but, yeah, I don't have any kind of impetus to want to continue reading because I'm not invested in the characters all that much. And yeah, it's just like, and
if you gave me 2 hours, I could probably finish the entire series, and I just don't care enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess granted, thinking about the format, like, out of the takuban format, as you might say, the volumes, But basically, if I was reading Weekly Shonen Sunday that it came out in, and I was just reading multiple chapters of multiple different mangas, I'd be like, well, I'm not going to skip ahead pages. I might as well read this.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you bought the whole magazine, so you're going to read the whole magazine.
Yeah.
I
might as well get through it.
I definitely remember, being a kid, having those superhero magazines and seeing the like little short stories that they'd have that in a totally different art style. And I was like, skip. I don't care. Just get to the main story.
You wanted to get to One Piece.
Yeah, maybe that is how it would be. I don't know, but I'm kind of like Jake said, I'm like, yeah, I have the whole magazine, might as well read it, unless it's really boring. But it wasn't boring. It's like
It wasn't boring. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't that engaging. When I like found out about this series, when I had like mentioned it, everybody's like, "Oh man, dragons, but in Rome, ain't that crazy?" And I was like, "Wow, that sounds a little out there. I kind of want to read it." And I guess what I expected was dragons in Rome. It was just I was expecting they like just replaced horses with dragons. Like dragons were just an everyday part of life. I was like, that's really interesting. Like,
gotcha.
How does that change things?
It'd be cool because like you could think like part of the thing that people like about Rome, I feel like, is the like military strategy kind of aspect of it. And I'm like,
dragon.
Yeah, and so dragons. Like, how do you still keep the like the shield barrier thing that they did?
I just like have the dragon swoop down.
Maybe you have giant dragon shields.
Yeah,
with little windows for their mouths.
Oh, like the shield is on the dragon?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I just made a turtle.
Yeah, and then you have a bunch of dragons all together.
No, flanks.
Yeah.
Flank. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, phalanx.
Yeah, it just kind of fell below my expectation.
See, Shuenta, I think the truth of the matter is you're wanting How to Train Your Dragon, and this is not that.
Yeah, but How to Train Your Dragon is more interesting than this.
and I'm saying it's not that.
How do you train your dragon is not Roman.
Yeah, but
it
is
true.
Vikings. Which...
It is ancient civilizations.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
they also went to Britain.
Yeah, and they also they were instrumental in kind of taking down Rome, right? Like they were like the barbarians. Maybe I am thinking of Britain and not Rome, though. I don't know.
Finally, they took down Britain.
I don't know. They took down some major empire, though.
They fought the Saxons and the French.
The Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I might be thinking of like King Arthur stuff and not Roman stuff.
Maybe that's the next theme. Yeah. King Arthur.
No.
Hey, Jake. Wait, is Jake picking next?
No, I am.
Oh, you okay?
Not down.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it's like this is like there is Roman stuff in it, and like gladiatorial fighting is interesting, but like it's almost the least interesting part of like Roman history. Like, okay, cool, yeah, they fought for people's entertainment. Yeah, cool. But we have UFC like today. That's not news.
That's fascinating. That's actually interesting to think about. It's like the modern form of the Colosseum is UFC. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, except for it's not people against their will.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta have that consent.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's the vestigial organ. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In this society.
Yeah, like it doesn't say anything interesting. Like it doesn't feel like it has anything to say about like it being Roman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, just in general, the monsters, I think they're trying to, in later volumes, be more like, oh man, the monsters are treated badly. You go in the sewers and, like, all the monsters who can't work in the mines anymore are just there dying. Yeah. And then they're just kind of like, bye. Like, are we gonna do something? No, we're here to save our one friend. But they're a really good gladiator fighter now. I'm like, damn it, not again. It's been 1 year and you made this child into the best gladiator fighter.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
They really shouldn't have chosen 1 year.
Yeah, because, that is something I could see them doing, is it's like, okay, yeah, empires are, like, conquest deal, they're colonizing, forces, and, like, they have genocided the wyverns, so it's like, make that part of the story.
Even that one, yeah, that's the thing. When they brought up, he's like, it's the last wyvern. I was like, oh my gosh, that's, incredibly sad. How does that change things?
He's just stoic.
Really?
Yeah.
He's just kind of cool. He fights.
Yeah. Yeah, because that seems like, honestly, kind of the obvious angle, like that, and then all the other monsters, too. They just keep, like, basically, like, a bunch of Romans died, sure, like, but then also they're, like, trying to get rid of these monsters. Because I think it says in the beginning of the first chapter that they, like, just popped up one day, like, they weren't always there, like...
Oh, the wyvern, or...?
All of the monsters. Like, suddenly there were monsters where there weren't any.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm making that up. I don't
know, but
okay.
Throughout the story, I think they keep saying stuff like, we've destroyed all the non-humans.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll just be non-humans existing. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we've destroyed all free non-humans.
This story really loves extreme dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Where people are like either the most evilest thing ever, or like good and pure, whatever. It is really simple.
Yeah.
Art-wise, though,
yeah,
I like the style more than I thought I would at first. When I first saw it, I was like, ugh, not my favorite. But it's pretty good for what it is. I do think it's kind of messy, which is just part of the style. But I think some of the way the action is done and the paneling, it's almost too easy to read over it, and it doesn't really matter what's actually happening within the panel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know who's swinging at what or hitting what. It doesn't matter. Like, oh, I'm winning. I'm doing so good. Like, the character just tell you, like...
Oh, yeah.
Or other characters will be like, wow, he's the best there ever was. Doesn't matter. He's gonna win or he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
The actions just kind of don't...
Yeah, it's a lot better of an art style just for, like, still panels, right? Like, just like the minotaur that's all, like, bloody and battered, and, like, you can see the details of, like, the little hairs and the little wrinkles and stuff like that. But yeah, the action is, like you said, messy and just like, what's going on? I don't know. It's just big.
Yeah.
They're swishing around.
Yeah, there is, when I'm looking at a page that's like a big splash page, like that's obviously like action and makes sense, but it's like, okay, well, you had to use 2 pages to do that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the panels that look like they had texture on it, I thought were like really cool. Like some like this, the minotaur standing.
Yeah.
So those panels that where they added the texture was like, oh wow, that's really awesome. And especially like that was like the first page you open are a whole bunch of those panels in color, and I'm like, whoa, that's dope.
Yeah, I'm not.
Elon loves color.
Yep, I love texture too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure if I really liked the color pages. I was kind of like, I was actually off put when they first started. I was like, is this whole manga gonna be color? Like, I've heard of doing a couple of color pages before, but just because it was right at the beginning, I was just like, oh, is this gonna be how this is?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was not sure how to feel about that.
Oh, fair enough. The first page also had the Roman centurion like yelling, and his teeth kind of looked like vampires, like fangs. And so I was like, "Ooh, are we going to talk about vampires?"
Yeah.
In a much cooler story.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, yeah. I would. Yeah, that'd be cool because it's like beasts that are human shaped. Harder to.
Oh my
identify.
God. I want it. I liked history more than this.
Oh, the comic history.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Even though it's not Roman.
Yeah. We had 2 Greeks, 1 Roman.
What was the Bronze Age?
That was Greek.
But that was the last one we read, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I actually don't remember that one. Wow. That's
my
bad.
God, Taylor.
That's really bad.
Trojan War, Paris.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Compare stories too much. I feel bad because like there's not a bad story. It's just not that interesting. So
I mean, like on the other hand, like we are comparing it to like the Trojan War and the Odyssey, which are like 2 of the longest told stories in human history.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like it feels a little unfair.
I mean, you can do the stories really simplistic too.
There was a pretty girl. The guy got jealous, and boom, bada bing, war.
Yeah.
The Iliad, that's what it's called.
Yes, the Iliad. Yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking about that because I know it's not called the Trojan War.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Actually, it was the Trojan War wasn't even in it, right?
Well, not.
Well, it was the first part of it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The rest of the volumes. Yeah. Trojan War, the prequel. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it does feel like, looking back through it too with the art style, it seems like it would be read for like cool art, like Spawn in America. Like,
oh, that's fair.
Oh no, the Spawn.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like that's not even a good comparison because Spawn's also like it's cool art, and then like also like cool adult stuff like violence and yeah. So, I mean, I guess this has violence, but different. It doesn't have guns.
Yeah, and chains.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they need to give them more dragons and guns.
Or even better, dragons carrying guns. You see a dragon flying around with a rifle in its hand?
You're right though, Jake. I do want more than just like gladiator battles.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna actually do something else, but everybody's either a slave or in a gladiator battle or not.
Yeah, or just somebody watching a gladiator fight.
They're about to become a slave because they're an innocent civilian.
Yeah. Should have learned how to fight.
She went to. It felt like when you're they're either a slave or they're not. It's like, well, that kind of is like everything, right?
I suppose mentally.
Or like I like the art. The art was pretty simple, except for like the spreads when it got like super detailed. That was neat, but otherwise, like the art was pretty generic. It was like I said, kind of old fashioned. Is what it felt like.
Yeah,
old fashioned.
Like not old fashioned in a bad way, just reminiscent of. And I guess it is kind of old now. It's like 12 years old.
I suppose. I am curious how it developed as the story when the art style.
Yeah.
I wonder what Finn looks like in the 7th volume compared to the first. That'd be different, probably.
Yeah, he'd be an old man.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip to chapter 23, the final chapter, and see what it looks like.
The final chapter.
That's the thing. Is it just them like dying? Like you said, Taylor, on the end of that one shot, I just kind of glossed over because I was like, it says like they die, and I'm like, no, they didn't. I don't want them to die.
Would you say you grew attached to them?
I would have been like, this kind of story that goes, and then they escaped, and it goes, and then they died. And I'm like, damn it, what's the point?
I don't know. I kind of felt like, regardless of the result of any fight, I would feel the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. I am deeply invested in this story.
If Tharos and Xeno died in that final battle, I would have felt the same way as I did when they escaped.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't have. I'd have been sad.
How sad?
Kind of sad.
My change sad, or
wait, say it again.
I forgot my change at the grocery store sad, or
yeah, probably.
That would make me
more that
sad.
I'd be
my change.
I'd probably say
Just your like coin change that comes out of the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've probably been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they
Heads up,
died.
Jake.
Sorry.
We're learning that Talon and me are extremely emotional people.
Like, okay, Cody, how did you feel about this? What
Yeah.
were your emotional stakes?
No, I kind of agree with you. I think, you know, I like it would have been like a little sad maybe, but at the same time, like I see what you're saying where it's like, yeah, it doesn't, especially if we don't really meet back up with them as much. Actually, wait, no, I'm looking at the last chapter. We are looking at Xeno, I'm pretty sure. But so, yeah, we are coming back to those characters, but still it doesn't feel like that, I guess. I don't know. It just feels like
Story never gives a hint of whether that's going to happen or not. Since
Yeah.
it seems to be just like moving on to new characters each time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like, I guess I'm partially influenced by, you know, Shawenta having read ahead. But if I'm just going based on what I read, yeah, I don't think I would have cared too deeply. Like, yeah, it would have been a sad story, but it's also like, you know, that's the thing, I guess, is like I would assume then with what I only read, if they died at the end, then I would have been like, oh, well, what's the rest of the story then? Like, is this the ending? Like,
Gotcha.
This does.
I mean, the one shot does have them just die.
Right, yeah. I guess I kind of also understood that was probably a one shot, you know, or something like that. Yeah.
I guess also I was like, the last dragon, it just died.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get more dragons in this story. I want them to find a secret cavern of dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like How to Train Your Dragon.
I haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon, by the way.
You should. I guess you should watch it then. It has everything you want.
Those dragons don't enchant me.
I will say, I was definitely like worried that Xeno was gonna die. I was like, oh gosh, don't make him die. Please don't.
What? Why? Just because he loves his brother?
Yeah, that's a very like that, you know.
I'm sure the Minotaur, if he had a brother, would love him too. Would you feel sad for him?
No, because he's bad.
I'm gonna say, yeah, it's the evil men are gonna kill the good guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Tharos would have been left without a brother, and that just, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. Also, I was just gonna say real quick, I feel like the art style in the final chapter hasn't really changed all that much, but there is even more texture. Like, I think every single character has like some sort of screen tone on them.
Interesting.
So like,
you gotta do it.
It's like, okay, I guess like everybody gets a little bit of shading for that shadow that's naturally on their face, I guess.
A dramatic ending.
Yeah, it's also weird that there's like intense battle. Like, it starts out with intense battle, and then it's like it cuts back to a girl that's probably important now, you know, but she's not in an intense battle. She's fine. And then it cuts back to the intense battle again. And I'm like, huh, okay. Weird pacing, it feels like, just looking at the pages, not reading them. But yeah.
You know,
yeah, we get as many scenes as we need to tell the simple story.
Yeah, and actually that is the final battle is a the final chapter is just a battle, is just a fight.
I mean, how else would this series end other than a big fight?
True. It is
how many million Romans die?
It is a one-on-one between two people though. So
it's probably diminishes.
It's basically just a gladiator fight again with two people, not even against a monster.
Yeah.
That's the real thing we can never escape in life. Gladiator.
something humans are the real monsters.
Yeah.
We're stuck in a colosseum.
I like how this I don't know if it's just this scan, but at the last page is like source Senator Trite CRG translation Centurion Omega Kaiser typesetting cleaning gladiator, and I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's like B Chang, but it's like, you know, they're just keeping up with the theme.
Yeah. This was scanlated from the Greek, I think it said.
What? It came out in Greek?
Or no, actually, it didn't come out in Greek. At least that's not what Wikipedia said. But let me go back to the first chapter. Oh, sorry. It was a G name, but not Greek. That makes more sense. It was probably because of the content of the manga that my brain was thinking that. But the translation is based on the German release.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was available in Italian, German, Spanish, Portuguese, and French.
Man.
Has not been released in English.
I feel bad now. I'm like, you leaving us out. What the heck? What the heck, bro?
I mean, lots of stuff gets not, they think Western audiences won't really like it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in thinking about it that way, I'm like,
yeah. Well, I guess European is technically Western audience, but also, American audiences.
Yeah.
Specifically.
We're the only Western country.
We're not even on the West. That's how West we are.
Yes, we are.
We're the most West. Talon.
Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're separating it with
Where are we? What are we talking about anymore?
You could look at the globe with England on the west side.
Stop.
Yeah, that's how the globe works. Yeah.
So really,
might as well be south.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, north is just a made-up direction that we decided on.
It's true. It is true based on magnetic poles.
Well, I say my magnetic pole goes west and east.
No.
Well, this comic was fine.
It was fine.
I think it's my final thoughts on it.
Thank you, Jake.
You can read it.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, because it's really gory. Not that
I didn't think it was that gory.
Yeah.
It was tagged as gory. I was like,
Okay, maybe I have an American sensibility on gore, but this was very low on what I'd consider gory.
The thing is that there was lots of black inked blood, but it didn't have guts and viscera, So it was just kind of okay, yeah. I mean, that's just splashes of blood that isn't even red,
Yeah.
They could be ink. It literally is ink, but it could just be ink. They could be ink people.
and we bled black.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. It was just fine. I mean, it was fun to read, for, as short as it was. It was just okay, that's done. Yeah. I won't think about this probably ever again. I will forget about it.
Yeah.
It could have done
in 1 week.
Yeah. I mean, it has a concept that is memorable. I will be oh yeah, that's right. Monsters in Roman. Roman.
Yeah. In Rome. When in Rome.
Yeah. But the characters' names, the relationships, it might take a little bit of reminding.
I kept reading his name as Finn, and I was like, Thorfinn? What? I remember Thorfinn's name.
Oh yeah, from
I don't know. Yeah, blonde child with a sword.
Yeah,
it's they're the same character.
Yeah. Except for we got a few chapters with Thorfinn and his home village and stuff and what he cares about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can't start talking about better comics.
It's true. Yeah. Shawenta, you agree though? It's a fine comic, but not great.
Someone finally chose a Roman comic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Even I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other option that I was going with was Pax Romana.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one scan I saw was 42 pages. And I was like, whoa, no, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I thought that series went longer because I've heard of it.
It's 4 issues.
It's only 4 issues?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all that we have for Beastarius. Thank you for listening. This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Talon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel as it helps us out on the YouTube algorithms and getting us seen by more and more people. You can also reach out to us with any thoughts you have on the things we talk about on Twitter at TheComicPanel1 and on Instagram and Facebook at The Comic Panel. Also, if you want to leave a comment, please do. Let us continue the conversation.